Mate, did we watch a thing this week?
Yeah, we did.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to FURIOUSTEMBER.
I don't feel furious. I'm lacking in fury.
It's been a really long day. We're about to start. What are we up to?
What's the seventh one called?
Furious 7.
Okay. And at this point, we're going to start drinking.
Yes.
Well, at least we're going to start drinking properly, because the drinking games we were only ever going to do for the last two films because, 4 hours of drinking games, reasonable. 16 hours of drinking games, not reasonable.
Pretty unreasonable amount of drinking. We got one last rule left to hear. Do you want to check it out?
No.
You think we've got enough already?
Hit me.
All right, this one comes to us from our very good friend Paul over at the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews podcast, which is honestly one of my personal favourites, and we're actually going to be on it next month, taking them on show v show style to take them at their own game. Let's hear what he's got for us.
Hello, Billy and Topher. This is Paul from the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews podcast, and thank you very much for this invitation to submit a drinking game rule for your viewing of the last two Fast and the Furious films. So my rule for you guys is that every time there is a physics-defying / ridiculous stunt or piece of action in the film that makes one or both of you giggle, chuckle, or laugh out loud, both of you take a drink. There you go. Simple as that. Thanks again for this invitation to submit to your 50th episode. It's an honour. Cheers, guys.
Now, a lot of people are aware that I don't tend to actually laugh out loud or giggle that much, but I am willing to incorporate any groans into that of, ugh.
Also, there have been several things that have made both of us laugh out loud or cheer in the last couple of movies.
Mostly rock-related, though, not...
That's true.
I mean,
most
The Rock
of them
kind of
defy
does.
physics.
The Rock defies a lot of things.
he kind of does defy physics just by the fact he can actually
How is he
stand.
upright?
All right, so before we get into it, let's just review our rules for our listeners. All right, Hannah from the Boozy Movies podcast has given us anytime generic hip-hop plays.
Which we've kind of moved out of.
Yeah, which I'm really glad. Sam and Stacey from the Wonderful Movie Reviews in 20 Qs podcast want us to drink every time Vin Diesel stares someone down. Julio from the Contrarians podcast wants us to drink every time we see product placement, which is still happening in furious amounts, as well as any time I cry, which hopefully won't happen, but you never know.
You're going to get drunk and weepy, aren't you?
Gabe from Thinking Outside the Long Box wants us to drink whenever all four wheels of a car come off the ground.
Oh, good one.
Drew said the same thing from the Real Feels podcast, so I think that in honour of the double up, we drink until that car lands back on the ground. He also wants us to drink whenever there's a close call or whenever somebody starts their car. All right, Chris from More Gooder Than wants us to drink whenever anybody says the word family.
Had to be there.
Daniel and Dean from the IMDb Journey podcast want us to drink whenever we can't understand what Vin Diesel is saying.
What if we just guess that he's saying family? Well, then I guess drink.
I guess drink. And Paul from the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews podcast wants us to drink whenever something is so ridiculous that we actually giggle or laugh out loud.
Let's grab a drink.
Let's do it. Hello, everybody. We made it.
Well, not yet we haven't.
Not
We've
yet.
made 7.
Yes, we just watched Furious 7.
The 7th
The
film.
7th film.
And in case you're wondering, yes, this is where the drinking game started.
Because if you might not be able to tell.
I think people can tell with you, Billy.
Well, okay.
I actually wasn't, I knew there was a lot of drinking rules.
Yes.
I didn't think they were going to come up quite as often as they did.
Well, let's talk about the rules first before we get into the movie. Who do you think is responsible for our health and safety or lack thereof right now? Because straight up...
You're testing my memory here. It is without question whoever made the rule every time a car's wheels leave the ground.
Yes. There are a lot of slow-mo shots of cars in the air in this movie.
It wasn't so much the problem of the slow-mo shots in the air. It was when the extended sequence of them coming out of
Coming
a plane.
out of the plane.
Planes travel at a decent rate of knots.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So-
was this plane just circling at this point because
Well,
they had reached the area?
It would have to be doing very small circles because
It would have to.
these
be.
cars reverse out of this plane at kind of fair intervals. Like there's,
Yeah, probably at least 10 to 20 seconds in between each car.
and yet by the time they're falling to earth, they're right on top of each other.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's like when you go down a water slide and you're supposed to kind of wait like 30 seconds before the next person goes and you all end up kind of backed up one after the other. That's what these planes looked like.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Maybe they can steer in the air though, because later on in the film, Dom Toretto is airborne, headed towards a helicopter,
He's trying to steer.
furiously steering. I'm like, Dom, you can't steer.
In his defense, though, you would do the same thing. How many times have you played a racing game or something and you actually like stand up and turn the controller to steer?
Last time I drove a car into a helicopter. Anyway, we're skipping ahead here.
We are skipping ahead. Firstly, what did you think?
Like overall,
Yeah.
oh, we're still nowhere near the glory of Fast Five.
We haven't caught the magic of 5.
No.
This is better than 6 though.
I'd agree with that. A lot of the film is not as good as 6, but then the last kind of half hour
Yeah.
is furious.
Yeah.
Is real furious.
You know what really hit me about this one? It took us an hour 45 until we really got decent rock.
I was complaining.
You were complaining. You made me pause it at an hour 20 to check how long it had been because you were like, where is the rock?
We got some rock early on in a fight where he would clearly have killed Jason Statham.
I mean, if the rock punched someone, their face would
And he
smash into
smashes
20,000 pieces.
He smashes Turkish from Snatch, and
Yeah.
he just gets right back up.
Oh, not even a bloody nose. He just stands up.
So at the beginning of the film, we find out who Turkish from Snatch is. He's another Shaw. He's the
Yes.
brother of Bard from The Hobbit,
Yes, he is.
despite the fact that Bard from The Hobbit is Welsh, Statham's English, and they clearly look nothing alike.
That was one of my favourite bits, though, when they showed Shaw's like record and it had location UK/unknown. Like,
You could just say unknown. The great bit of that sequence is when he's been talking to his brother, and then he turns to these medical staff.
yeah, he's visiting his brother in the hospital.
Yep. And he tells them that, look after my brother or I'm going to, come back and mess you up.
Yeah.
He's basically blown up this hospital. If you want your brother cared for, don't blow up the hospital he's in.
And I don't and not just blown up. When he walked outside, there were like bullet holes everywhere too. Did he have a crew with him that were like attacking this hospital? And if so, why? Because they're caring for his brother. They're taking good care of him.
He didn't think this through.
He didn't think any of it through. I didn't understand why he was attacking the hospital when the hospital staff aren't responsible for his brother being there and they're actively caring for him.
Yeah, like he was hooked up to machines.
Yeah, like it's not like
He wasn't in a gulag.
I've been in hospital before. My wife has been in hospital before. Not once have I ever felt the need to say to the doctors, take good care of my wife, because that's their job and I kind of trust that it's what they're doing.
When Shaw visits Hobbs, visits him when he's at his computer going through his stuff, at the time, Dwayne Johnson's character, Hobbs, he's at work. Like, he's literally in the office.
Yes, he is.
He's wearing a muscle top. Is that standard issue uniform for his team, do you think?
Well, have we actually ever seen The Rock in uniform?
I think black is his uniform.
I don't think we ever saw Brian in uniform either, though.
Brian was never really employed. He just thought he was, and they indulged him. I work for the police, and they were like, yes, you do. Also, Hobbs has a daughter.
That came so out of left field. And we find that out when he's in the hospital.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he's called Dominic to come visit him. and his daughter's just like, Daddy? And Dominic looks as shocked as we do.
Yeah.
But then what's even worse than that is then his daughter is like, she knows she's like, oh, you're Dominic Toretto. My dad told me that he kicked your ass once. It's like, firstly, why does The Rock have a daughter? Who is this daughter with? Like, there's never been talk of The Rock's partner or anything.
No.
Like,
And apparently bedtime stories is, this is how I laid the smackdown on Dominic Toretto.
why? There is no way that The Rock would be talking about Dominic Toretto at like around the house. That's just not.
Don't buy it.
I've never been part of an investigation, but I don't think I would be coming home and telling my daughter stories about the person that I'm investigating.
Well, actually, no, in fairness, I think if you did open up a can on Dominic Toretto, you probably would come home and be like, hey, guess what?
Yeah. Beat the shit out of this really big dude.
The next thing to call bullshit on. So Dom goes to Tokyo
Oh, yeah.
and meets up with, what's his name from that film? Is it Sean?
Sean. I can't believe we remember that. Like, it was like, 6 hours
A
ago?
long time ago, and we tried our best to forget it already. They don't recreate the end of Tokyo Drift. They just play the end of Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, including Bow Wow.
Which then, of course, is really jarring because you cut to a new thing they've shot with Sean,
But
who,
that's-
of course, in the space of 5 minutes, has aged a decade.
But that's why when they cut from the end of Tokyo Drift to the new stuff, did you notice that they had this kind of like 40-second long, really, really long distance shot just slowly zooming in?
In the hope that we'd forget.
Kind of prepare you that you just, you don't know what this guy looks like.
Yeah, terrible. Then there's a there's a head on. Okay, so Dominic Toretto and Shaw play a game of chicken.
Oh, after this tremendous scene at Han's funeral, which for some reason, why does Dominic get to say where his funeral is?
He's like, I'm bringing Han back to get buried.
I'm
like,
bringing him home.
he's from Tokyo.
I think he probably has relatives and stuff there who would have... Like, is Dominic Toretto his power of attorney? He just somehow has the right to be like, he's coming back to America.
Han's siblings would be furious.
Oh, yeah. Where do you want to be buried?
I'd like for my ashes to be taken to my local microbrewery and have them infused into maybe a porter.
What would you want it to be called?
You might have to leave that one with me. What I want my death brew to be called.
I want my ashes to be taken to Disneyland.
I'm not doing that.
And I want my wife... Well, no, not you. Because you'll die before me.
And you'll die before your wife.
I will die well before my wife. She's in much better shape than I am. I want her to take my ashes to Disneyland and like throw me off a roller coaster.
Okay.
And I know that logically my ashes will probably just fly back in her face and it will be a very unpleasant experience.
Moment.
Be a very unpleasant experience for 60-year-old news because I'm going to die before 60 for sure. But
yeah. Yeah.
Firstly,
I was going to say next year.
But that's what I want done.
So, getting back to this fatal car crash. Or, sorry, what should be a fatal car
It's
crash.
not fatal.
There's a game of chicken between Toretto and Shaw. Yeah. Neither of them blink. They both hit each other at quite a high speed.
Oh, super high speed.
Now, Toretto's in this muscle car, which maybe doesn't have an airbag. I'm willing to buy that.
Yeah.
And it would be fatal.
Yeah.
Shaw is in quite a new car, which would have an airbag, but there's no airbags in sight, presumably because he had them removed because airbags are not furious.
Yeah, he probably took them out to add more pistons. I've heard a lot of talk of pistons in these films.
I'm sure that's what happened.
Yeah.
And so he would also be dead.
Oh, they would definitely be dead. Especially Statham. He's a weedy little dude. I could take Statham down.
You could not.
Oh, I could definitely take Statham down.
Turkish from Snatch would mess you right up.
No way. I could take him down.
My next note is Tyrese is the worst.
Oh, Tyrese is the worst.
He's the worst.
He's the worst. You know what's ironic is that Ludacris is the least ludicrous person in this crew. Ludacris is the most intelligent.
He's the voice of reason.
He is the rational person in this crew. You're relying on a guy whose name is literally Ludacris to take care of these people.
Well, not the character.
No. His name is Tej? Yeah, he is literally the
But he's the voice of reason.
There. Yeah.
And he's the one who's constantly like, Tyrese, you're a knob.
Yeah. Like literally one of our rules was to drink whenever something defied logic. And at one point I looked at you and I said, do you know what defies the most logic? The fact that these people are still letting Ludacris hang around with them and speak out loud.
I mean Tyrese.
What did I say?
Ludacris.
Ah. The fact that these people are still letting Tyrese hang around with them and speak out loud, that is ridiculous. And we both took a drink for Tyrese.
He's an absolute oxygen thief.
He just shouldn't be... Look, in reflection, I think I remember that about 4 hours ago, I was praising Tyrese and saying how great Tyrese was, maybe about 8 hours ago.
And I knew you were wrong at the time.
And I have to say, if I could see my past self, I'm looking at the chair I was sitting in right now, and if I was still sitting there,
Yeah, because it's got like a Billy-shaped...
it's got my like 6 cans of rum and coke just sitting next to it, I'd kick past Billy in the nuts and I'd say, no, Tyrese is a flog.
You'd be right to do that.
Yeah.
I had this kind of awkward moment after the cars had parachuted down and there was some chasing involved and the rescuing of Daenerys's interpreter. There's a moment where these like 3 Gatling guns are shooting the shit out of Paul Walker's car, and I'm like, oh, Paul Walker's dead from that. And then I was like, oh, wait.
Were you see? Because this is one of the ones I had seen before. And so I knew the ending and the send-off and stuff. Were you expecting him to die in this movie?
No. No.
You didn't think
because I'd heard plenty about the send-off.
Right.
And about how touching it was and how...
So you knew they weren't going to kill him off.
Someone had said to me, I can't think who it was, someone had said, even you will cry at the end of Furious 7.
Yeah, well, I remember... Obviously, you remember that because we only heard it a couple of hours ago, that Julio from the Contrarians, one of his rules was, if Billy cries, we drink. And I think we had said that because that was so unlikely, if I did cry, we would have to take a shot or finish our drink or something. And I had just opened a new drink, so I was super careful not to cry. But it's a touching send-off. Is it? You didn't think so?
I remained untouched.
As you often do.
Untouched as I was during basically my entire 20s.
Well, you had the overalls and that
bowl cut. Yeah, look, okay, and maybe it was never going to live up to what because I'd heard a lot about how well they handled the fact that Paul Walker unfortunately died during production. And I'm not saying it wasn't well handled. Let's be clear on that. But I'd heard a lot of people saying it's so unbelievably touching. It's the most perfect thing ever. And I was like,
no,
it was fine.
I think it was really well done.
It was fine.
It was really nice. They didn't just kill him off. He decided to be with his familia.
Yeah, well, that's his first mistake.
He had a new baby on the way. Another mistake. Don't tell my wife I said that. No, I thought it was good. Like, speaking of Paul Walker, though, and how well they handled it, I have to give mad props to the CGI team for this film.
Yeah, it's only like that last shot where he's looking across at Dom.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, that's not your head.
Do you know how many shots are fake?
I know it's plenty.
350 shots in this film are not Paul Walker in actuality.
And there are a few where you're like, I reckon that's one.
Yeah.
But like they don't stick out like the dog's proverbials.
Yeah. I mean, 350 shots is a lot.
That's more special effects shots than in all of Space Odyssey.
Yeah, yeah.
Just Paul Walker's face.
Yeah, I mean, I worked on a film last year that was virtually entirely CGI, like all CGI characters and stuff, and that was only 1,200 shots.
Ladybird?
Yeah, fun fact, Saoirse Ronan is not a real person.
I knew it. You can't be that talented in your early 20s.
She's actually a 70-year-old woman, and they de-age her for every film she's in. It's a lot of work.
Ladybird, starring Maggie Smith. Nice Final Destination moment in this film where a truck with a bunch of pipes, I'm not talking about plumbing here. I'm talking about huge ass pipes.
Yeah.
This truck loses them all over the road. And I was like, that's why you don't follow trucks like that.
I mean, virtually the entire film is Final Destination. How many moments here should people have died and escaped it?
Many
times. Statham would be dead 10 times over. Paul Walker should have died 6 movies ago.
Yeah, awkwardly, yes.
You're constantly wishing Tyrese would just take one in the neck.
Most of this film, I think we're on the same page here where we were like, this is pretty bad.
Oh, look, we haven't recaptured the magic of Fast 5.
No. But then, basically from the moment that Dwayne Johnson comes back into this film at an hour and 44 minutes.
Yeah, we know that because we both checked how long has this been, and then The Rock came in and we were like...
From that point onwards, like, it's batshit crazy. It's insane, but it is fun.
Look, The Rock is franchise Viagra. He's movie Viagra. He can go to a flaccid, terrible film and instantly raise it up 3 points.
I haven't seen Hercules, but I believe you're wrong.
He's in Hercules?
There was a new Hercules like 4 years ago.
With The Rock.
Yeah. It was meant to be abysmal.
But Kevin Sorbo is Hercules.
I know. That's where they went wrong. They should have got the Sorbo back.
How old is Sorbo now?
Oh, so many.
I would love to see Xena come back.
Oh, wouldn't we all?
While we're bringing
And
stuff...
Gabrielle.
Yeah.
We should start an internet petition.
Because those work.
I hear they work. Okay. So we're finally at the point in this film where the screenwriters have just gone full soap opera.
I mean, this film had more setup and exposition than any of the other films. The first half hour, we were both sitting there going, when is something going to happen?
And it's like dialogue, it is some eye-rolling action.
Man,
It's terrible.
I don't give a shit about Letitia.
Ghost Girl.
Ghost Girl.
All the stuff between her and Dom, I'm like, shut up.
Oh,
Just shut up. And then at the end... where
I remember everything.
Everything.
Why didn't you tell me we were married? Firstly, why didn't they tell the audience they were married?
And Toretto got married in a singlet. Come on, man. Even for you.
Hey, don't judge. I got married in a singlet.
No, you didn't. I was there.
I did wear a Mighty Ducks jersey to my wedding rehearsal, though.
I don't remember that. But yeah, everything.
Yeah, it's just eye-rollingly bad. But even worse than her is Jordana Brewster. In every scene she's in, she cannot act. Did we notice that for the previous 6
No, I think
movies?
she's gotten worse. Now that she doesn't have sandwiches to make.
We did get talk of sandwiches, though.
The Tip Top Fury came back. The Tip Top Madness, sorry.
He's sandwich crazy, that
Yes,
guy.
the multigrain madness.
They were talking on the phone and he was like, what did he say? Something about I never should have bought that first sandwich or something.
Oh, I don't know.
You know the other thing I loved that we got back in this movie?
Yeah.
Harpoons.
Was it a harpoon?
Harpoons. We got harpoons back and I'm like, yes, the more harpoons, the better.
Any fast film without a harpoon, why'd you bother?
Honestly, they should rename these movies Harpoon and the Furious, and I would still go. Because the best part of any one of these movies has been when someone has rocked a harpoon.
It was used in an action sequence that we weren't really following, if we're honest. We'd been talking about other things. I
think, yeah.
Like when Daenerys' interpreter popped up, we were like, who's she? Why? What's actually happening?
Yeah.
We'd been busy talking about how rubbish Tyrese is or something.
Oh, and we completely missed why they went to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Both of it, when they said, looks like we're going in the Middle East, we both looked at each other and were like, I'm sorry?
So, okay, all in all, pretty bad film.
Yeah, this...
Last half hour, fun.
And I think just for that half hour, this is above Furious 6. It's below 5, but above 6.
Oh, it's clearly below 5.
This is probably, I'm going to say, without actually seriously thinking about it, probably the third best. All I know is I'm feeling furious.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of tipsy.
Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit. Not much, though.
Well, if we want to increase that level, maybe we should watch the 8th film.
I suppose we should. Yeah, I always forget how large I am. It took like...
I don't.
It took like 3 rum and cokes before I was sitting there going, I'm not getting drunk at all. This is a bad idea. This isn't going... People are just going to be listening.
And I was looking at you going, Billy, you're not sober. Let me tell you, friend to friend, you're not sober.
And I think it's about to get worse. All I know is I hope that there is more rock in the 8th one.
Oh, God, hope so.
I hope that... Well, because we've lost Paul Walker now.
Maybe. You know what? It could have been a stroke of genius. Because that whole time that there was no rock, you know what I was?
Furious.
I was furious.
Actually, that was a great line in this movie when at one point Vin Diesel was like, this time it's not just about being fast. And we were both like, because they have to be furious.
Brilliant screenwriting.
Oh, mate, tip top. Just like Paul Walker's madness.
Multigrain madness.
Oh, nobody likes multigrain.
Oh, it's a leper bread.
Even mad people don't like
multigrain's terrible.
Multigrain is the worst.
Get yourself a rye sourdough.
Oh, just go with your classic white.
No. You go to the bakery that I go to.
Is this one of those fancy bakeries?
Oh, mate, you wouldn't believe what they charge. It's like I could pay rent, but instead I get
Or I
rice
could buy
sourdough.
a nice rice
Yeah.
sourdough.
Yeah, my other half could get a Christmas present, or we could get rice sourdough. We got one film left.
I can't believe we're finally here. When we did the schedule on this, we had a schedule. We put this in Excel and we were like, okay, we'll allow this long.
You
to
put it
record.
in Excel?
I put it in Excel. And I was like, okay, if we allow this long to record in between, we allow this long for the movie.
And I said to you it's going to go to shit, and you didn't believe me.
And I was like, no. If we start at 5 a.m., we will be done by 10. And we still have one left.
All right, so if we're going to stay awake, we should do this.
Oh, can we get more chicken?
No, we just need some speed.
All right. Okay. Should we do?
I'll hit play, you order chicken.
All right.
And break.
We did it.
It's over.
We made it.
I'm never watching another movie ever.
Because that was so good that it's ruined cinema for you?
No. No, Fate of the Fastness or whatever it was we just watched.
It was bad.
Fucking terrible.
These movies dipped again.
Let's be honest though, they've rarely been up.
Oh, mate.
This was more just the MO.
The peak of, yeah, that's true. The peak of 5 was so high.
And it was also so long ago.
It was so long ago, wasn't it? I really thought that from that point on, they would all hit that level. But this
Wrong.
was bad.
And that's with, quite a bit of alcohol.
And with Charlize.
Charlize Theron, the queen of the world.
And Glenn Close.
Not a fact.
Who was it again?
It's Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren.
You know how I know it was Helen Mirren?
Because
it was
of your eyes?
Because it was clearly Helen Mirren.
It didn't look like Helen Mirren to me.
Well, I don't know what you were looking at. Anyway.
All right. So, Fate of the Furious is what
Yep.
we just watched.
The 8th film in this
And
franchise.
final film, we did it, we made it.
Well, it's not the final film, it's just the most recent.
Are we going to have to do this all over again?
Fuck no. I am done. So this movie, it starts in Havana,
Cuba.
Cuba.
They tell us it's Cuba.
Yeah, at one point, the product placement veered to, what is that? Cuban nos.
Cuban nos. While we also just got a close-up of someone drinking Coca-Cola.
There is something kind of special about product placement of American products in Cuba.
Yeah.
There's something kind of beautiful about that. Anyway, the start of this film is stupid. It involves a drag race where Dom's car actually sets on fire.
The start is still fun, though.
The engine gets so hot that the thing just bursts into flame.
But this movie was like a reverse 7, where 7 started really good and then got bad. This one...
No, 7 started bad and got good.
Yeah, this was the reverse of that. This one started really good and then got bad.
Yeah. So this one starts, there's this ridiculous race.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but it's ridiculous. Then there's an awesome prison break.
That scene was amazing.
Involving Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham.
At the end of that
and it's
scene...
actually really fun.
Yeah, at the end of that scene, I said to you, this is now the second best film.
But it didn't maintain the fury.
It did not maintain the fury or the fastness.
But there was a certain fury that arrived in the form of one Charlize Theron.
Yes, I think you mean there's a certain Furiosa.
Furiosa herself turns up in the Fast and the Furious franchise, which is amazing.
And she's probably the most furious character in this film.
Oh, she's well furious.
Hey, so she blackmailed Dom into being in her crew.
Yep.
Did we ever actually find out what it was she blackmailed him with?
If we found out, I was concentrating on other things at the time.
Yeah, because right at the start, she shows him her phone. We assume it's a photograph of something. And she's like, you will go against your team, which she does.
Because of this.
But then I don't remember finding out what it was she showed him.
She does have a really good blackmail card to play, but she plays that later on, so we don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And okay, it's entirely possible that we do know what it was, and we were just thinking about other things at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm often thinking about other things. My wife was making us a cake at one point, and I was thinking about chocolate and cake.
you don't deserve your wife. Why is she up making us a cake?
You know why she's making cake? Because she wants cake. I actually got a message from her about halfway through this movie. I thought she was asleep. And then I got a message that just said, Uber cake, ?
Where were we before we started talking about cake?
Now I'm just thinking about cake again.
Pop quiz.
All right.
What is Charlize Theron's character's name?
Furiosa.
It's actually not.
I think I know this one. I remember her saying it at one point. Jemima.
Not Jemima. Famously not Jemima.
Do you actually know what her name is?
I do, and it's really dumb.
Is that because you're looking at IMDb?
No, I heard it.
You heard it in the movie.
I heard her referred to it late on in the movie. I was like, is that right? Cypher. What's with that?
I'm assuming it's a code name. I don't think that she popped out of her mum and her parents were like, oh, beautiful little Cypher.
It's not a
Little
name.
Cypher Jones.
So the way that there's... we need to just... This episode... We're going to make we're going to say a lot of things wrong in this episode because we've gone quite mad, and also we're now also quite drunk. So please excuse the fact that we're going to make mistakes because we're going to.
It's going to look. It happens every episode. I don't think we've ever not fucked up.
Well, yeah, but now there's a real excuse other than just us being dumb. When old mate with the dirty little tash
Scott Eastwood.
No.
Yeah.
Other spook.
Yeah.
He was trying to convince The Rock to take on this job.
Yes.
And he basically said to him, look, you have to do this for your country, but if anything goes bad, we will completely disavow you.
Yeah.
And if I was The Rock and someone said that to me, I'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah, but you know what it is? The Rock has a lot more honor than you do. I don't think you would do anything for your country.
Oh, God, no.
If I said to you, iron your shirt for your country, but if you burn it, we'll disown you, which is a really easy thing to not screw up, you'd be like, nah, tough out.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
But if I was The Rock, I'd be like, how about no?
Yeah, you have no right to make me do this.
Ridiculous.
But also, so The Rock is still in the FBI at this point?
Well, this was going to be my next point. All of these people, to the best of our knowledge right now, are and have for a while been unemployed.
Yeah.
How are any of these people putting bread on the table?
At one point, one of them says something... What is it they say?
When you're sitting around with family and you need to break bread, someone needs to have paid for that bread.
That's true.
You know how many of these people currently have a job? None.
That's true. Tyrese, even in real life, doesn't have a job.
So, in the last film, we had a Game of Thrones person pop up. We had Miss Andre, I can't...
Yeah, who's still in this one.
She's still there.
And she's great.
And now we have Tormund and his furious red beard.
Yeah, we do.
I love Tormund.
Oh, yeah, my wife's in love with that dude. Another dude with a better beard than me. And a better build than me.
Not because you so rarely in film see people of a greater physique than the two of us.
No, it's not often, is it? Usually you look at people and you're like, I could take them.
We find out in this film that Dominic Toretto now has a son.
Yes.
To his former partner.
Yeah, Brazilian cop.
Not Letty, but with Brazilian cop.
I think you mean Letitia. Let's use her full name.
Ghost Girl.
Yeah.
Now, what she says to Dom is that she knew she was pregnant.
Oh, that's right.
But Letty had just resurfaced.
Yeah, because he just found out Letty was still alive. She wanted to wait.
She was going to wait until something, I don't know, because I'd already moved to, bullshit. Let's say you and I are a couple. And
it's easy to imagine.
I find out I'm pregnant.
Yep.
And we thought that your wife, currently, for some reason, making cake, she's just resurfaced.
Yeah.
Before I let you go back to her, I'd be like, look, you should probably be in full possession of the facts here. I'm up the duff.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of just having this kid and then...
Wait, but that would put me in a really difficult position because then I'd have to think, okay, my child or cake... And I'm sorry. And if my daughter ever listens to this, I'm sorry. But cake wins.
The only thing that beats Rock
The only thing that beats rock
is cake.
is cake.
Do you remember back? It's I know it seems like a long time ago now, but back in this franchise, when they used to crash actual cars, this film is a mess of rubbish CGI.
Yeah, I feel like the craft in general has really dropped. I remember it was like, was it the fourth one that both of us were like, oh man, the direction has really gotten better. Was it the fourth or was it the fifth?
No, it was fifth.
Right. This is a huge step back. This is a terribly made movie. Like, in all areas of the craft of filmmaking. Like, the acting is bad, the dialogue is terrible.
Horrible. Oh, horrible. The things that Charlize Theron is made to say in this film is just horrifying.
You literally sit there and wonder, who showed her a picture of what to make her accept a role in this film?
I know.
She got Dominic Toretto'd.
She did.
Yeah.
There was one point in this film where I turned to you and I was like, that sounded like Tommy Wiseau.
There were a couple of Tommy Wiseau moments.
Okay, obviously throughout this series, the stakes have risen and risen and risen and risen. But every so often, I just can't help but go, okay, hang on. These are characters who, when we met them,
ran a sandwich shop.
And were street
and occasionally
racers.
raced cars.
And occasionally raced cars.
Yeah.
Now, we have, like, actual lines about, are you ready to save the world?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, no, hang on. If the world is in peril, do not call Dominic Toretto.
Okay, so now we're up to date with this franchise. So let's go through this. First movie, are there any stakes? No, there's not really any stakes. They're just racing cars.
There's a police investigation.
Yeah, okay. Second movie, I mean, Dominic Toretto's crew isn't even there.
No.
So we can discount that.
Who even cares?
Third movie, same thing. They're just racing cars in Tokyo and he's not even there.
Didn't even happen in that film.
Then we go to the fourth movie and things start to escalate. What happens there again?
Oh, there's something about a drug cartel, isn't there?
That sounds right. And they bust through the rocks.
Yeah, that's the thing I really remember.
Mountain.
That's what I remember.
It was like 5 hours ago, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Fifth movie, is that when they break Dom out of? That's when they break Dom out of prison, out of the bus,
and they're in Brazil.
They're in Brazil.
And then some other stuff happens. That's
not the one with the plane.
No, that's 6.
All right, so 6 then is when London Dude goes bad, and is that the first movie they're approached? No, so fourth movie they're approached by the FBI.
In the fourth film, Paul Walker was an FBI employee for reasons unknown.
Yeah.
Clearly, the FBI would not hire him.
And then in the fifth movie, Dominic's entire crew is approached by the FBI, even though he's just escaped from jail.
Is it the FBI or is it General Spooks?
I thought the sixth movie was the first one with Spooks. Oh, no. Either way, now we're at the point where they're trying to get the nuclear codes to stop missiles being launched worldwide. What is going on?
The world's in peril. Someone call Letty, that girl that can't remember anything. Tyrese.
This is an actual conversation that happened in the FBI building. Hello, is that Agent Topher? Are you not going to roleplay with me?
Oh, I thought this was a one-man show.
Hello, is that Agent Topher?
No, fuck off.
We need you to call up Dominic Toretto. There's people who are going to launch missiles. We really need this street racing crew.
I beg your pardon. You say someone's got a nuke, and you want me to call those people from LA that used to race cars.
That's exactly right. I need you to get street racers.
Don't we have some professionals we could call?
No, not at all.
None.
I need you to get the street racers. For
Are they all on annual leave?
They're all on annual leave. That's correct. One is on maternity leave. I need you to get Dominic Toretto.
She's making a cake.
She's making a cake. I need you to get these street racers for me, and we have to go stop this submarine.
Yeah, not a thing. Why is Bard from The Hobbit back?
That made no sense. There were so many. It was pretty early on that you and I both looked at each other, because one of our drinking game rules was anytime something defies logic, which is definitely the rule that got us most this time.
Oh.
Early on, you and I both looked at each other and said, well, this entire premise defies logic, so let's just take a drink for the story now. And it just got worse from that point. when Bard from The Hobbit showed up, when all of
as
a sudden...
as the Rocketeer.
Yes, that's right. We saw these two people in literal Rocketeer
Like
suits.
Falcon from Avengers.
Or like George Michael in Arrested Development with his jetpack suit fighting the Mole Man. We saw them flying through the air to Charlize's plane, and we were like, who the fuck are these dudes? And then they land, and you find out that it's Jason Statham
The brothers Shaw.
and Bard.
The brothers from two different countries. The Welshman and the Englishman.
Yeah, and we both looked at each other and were like, did you know that this was those two? I didn't even know that. But firstly, you find out just through a random statement that Bard is out of hospital and is now in prison. And then he shows up on the plane.
Of course he does. Because Helen Mirren made it happen.
And then where did he go to? Did he die? Because all of a sudden then...
He was just gone.
Because then all of a sudden it's just Statham on the plane and he's having the baby fight. And...
Maybe I was up grabbing another drink when he got killed or something. Or more likely, he just kind of got edited out at that point.
Yeah, maybe. Because I don't know where he went.
I don't know. We had to switch studios to do Beauty and the Beast or something. So then there's a submarine and some other really dumb things happen, and at the end, the world does not get blown up.
Thanks to Dominic Toretto, then switching sides, getting back with his family, and stopping the
But let's
the
like,
missiles.
I just want to stress that we've gone from people whose biggest concern was whether they won a quarter-mile drag to
a Cuban mile drag.
like honestly, at one point, The Rock brings up we need to avert World War III. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
and we've just spent the better part of 24 hours with these people, and I still...
We're basically family.
We're basically family, and I still don't understand how they got from point A to point B.
Well, but also at this point, like, we're the drunk uncles at Christmas. So...
That's true. In the family, we're those guys.
Yeah, everyone else is like, oh, shut up.
We can talk about the scene where Cypher controls all of the cars.
That was dumb.
That was so dumb. And also, that was our heaviest drinking scene.
Oh, that was taxing.
That was terrible. Because...
Okay, so for anyone that's forgotten, one of our rules was any time that all four wheels leave the ground, we have to drink. And there is a sequence in this film
where Charlize Theron says, make it rain.
Like half the cars in New York
just start flying
come out of a car park.
But even one of our other
and we
rules,
were like, oh my God.
One of our other rules is every time a car starts, and she's just remote starting all of these cars, which I don't think can happen. I don't think you can do that, even with modern cars. I don't think you can just, out of nowhere, start a car unless it has a special thing installed in it to do exactly that.
Well, your name's not Cypher.
And neither is hers.
I know, it's Furiosa.
We do get a lot of harpoons back in this movie too.
Yeah, I was happy to see the return of the harpoon.
Yeah, I was really glad to see the return of the harpoon. And we get more Rock.
Yeah, and still not as much as I'd have liked. Because, let's face it, anytime Tyrese is on screen, you're like, this would be better if it was The Rock.
Yeah, that's true.
It would also be better if it was just a colour test pattern. It would also be better than Tyrese.
Just colour bars and 1K tone. And
exactly.
You'd be like, oh, this is nice. This is a nice break from the Furiosity.
I feel like we should wrap this up, if for no other reason than it lets me go to bed.
And I can smell the cake.
Yeah.
You'll have some cake before you go, won't you?
So, yeah. Please. Let's just tidy up on number 7. Can I get a rating from you for number 7?
For number 7? Oh, you're stretching my memory back. It's like a whole...
Several drinks ago.
A whole 2.5 hours ago, mate. Yeah, look, 7 was
crap.
I'm gonna say a 4.
Yeah, I'm a 4.
Yeah.
Because there was a section of 7 which was kind of glorious.
Yeah, the last half hour once The Rock came back into it.
Most of it was garbage.
Yeah. 8 was slightly better.
No, 8 was worse.
You reckon 8 was worse than 7?
Do you remember what we just watched? That was the one with Red October coming out of the ice at the cars.
I remember The Rock doing some Rocky type things.
Barely.
I remember Statham having a fight using a baby as a shield.
It was horrible. I'm a 3 for that one.
I remember Vin Diesel being sheltered by a nuclear blast by a group of cars.
That wasn't a nuclear blast. That was just the sub blowing up.
I remember Vin Diesel being sheltered by a sub blowing up by a group of cars around him in a circle that were also
like animals
unscathed.
guarding their young.
Yeah. I'm going with another 4.
Okay. So, neither of these films are approved by We Watched a Thing.
But now we're at the end. What would you rate the franchise?
The franchise as a whole.
In one sitting, I'm going to give it a 1. Do not do this in one sitting unless you hate yourself.
Don't do this at home, kids. The franchise as a whole is a 4.
It's better than some franchises.
Hello, DCEU.
I'm not just thinking that. I would rather watch... No, that's not... Oh... Would I rather watch Tokyo Drift or Suicide Squad again?
Oh, that's a horrible thing to ask.
Are we done?
Yep.
I think we're done.
We're done.
So can we close the book on this franchise then?
Forever.
Can we close the book on the day?
That happened several hours ago when yesterday ended. Okay, if you're still listening to this, I mean, thanks.
It's a wrap on Furious-tember. We're done.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking with us this month.
We'll be back to regular programming. All right, well, this has been an experience.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you to all of our good friends who sent us rules as well. You should check out each and every one of their shows.
Okay.
All right.
We need to pull a pin on this.
Okay, if you want to get in touch with us...
Can't imagine why you would.
After this month, I don't know why you would. If you would like to do that, you can find us at wewatchedathing.com or at wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook.
Them interwebs.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the handle at wewatchedathing. If you'd like to give us money... which, why would you... But if you want to help support us going to see the next Fast and Furious installment, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing. And if you've enjoyed our ramblings throughout this month, then please tell a friend about the show. And you know what? Tell 3 friends. Get them to tell 3 friends. And then stop shaking your head, Tove. And then if they tell 3 friends, then that's instantly 12 more people who will be listening to us. 12, is that right?
You should have been listening.
And in the meantime, go watch a movie, but not any of the Fast and Furious ones.
Let's go eat some cake.
Yeah, let's eat some cake.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
All right, you've gone off the cliff.
I'm really drunk. I made 0 notes, by the way.
Well, jeez, we know who's carrying this team. I'm the Dwayne Johnson.
Fuck off. Well, you might
You're Tyrese.
We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Matt, what are you doing? Put your headphones on, you goose.
Yeah, any concerns about you not sounding drunk enough?
I love
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell